One guy that has worked seemingly, and he hasn't played with a ton of people, but whoever he has played with is your favorite from the start, Joe Thornton.
I told you this guy can play on the top line if you need him there. You can pass it to Tavares. You can pass it to Matthews. What's funny about him is that he's such a non-shooting threat that he just kind of lives behind the goal line now. And I
So
like that spot for him. I think that's an effective spot because in the offensive zone, whether you're on the power play where he's kind of your quote unquote net front guy, even though what his real job is to provide an outlet behind the goal line where if you're running into trouble, just launch it around the boards. Thornton will pick it up and pass it to an open man. And one of the great things Thornton does is he can pass it to you below the goal line and get you in a one-timer position. And this is something that Ryan Stimson's research shows. It's something that Corey Schneider, the guy who does all the manual tracking shutdown line on Twitter, all their data shows is that if you get a shot off of a pass from behind the net, it increases your shooting percentage like crazy. It's basically like passing the puck east-west in the offensive zone. Not many players set up behind the goal line and are looking to thread passes out from behind the goal line to someone in a shooting position. Thornton's one of the few guys in the league still doing it at a high level. I get that you're worried about him defensively. You know, I can clip him trying to back check on Connor McDavid. It doesn't go very well. But if you give him a specific role where you say, hey, this is your spot, you're going to be our low post guy, kind of behind the net, let our other players worry about their areas of the ice. I think it's an area of the ice he can still dominate and still thread passes. And those puck retrieval numbers, you see it on those passes in the O zone that we talked about earlier. You see it. I'm a big Joe Thornton truther, and I just needed to get that off my chest.
yeah, and I actually want to give him a little bit of love too, because the thing I'm honestly impressed about, you talk about here's your spot on the ice. This is a guy with a couple 100+ point seasons, a couple 90+ point seasons, I think 3 or 4 80+ point seasons on top of that. So almost a decade of ridiculously elite production.
He turned
And
Jonathan Cheechoo into a 55 goal scorer who was out of the league a few years later.
yeah, and although part of that was that knee injury that Chichu had, but yeah,
Fair.
point taken. He did obviously carry this guy on his back a little bit, but you know, to be that good and to kind of accept his role now, that's not easy for guys. A lot of guys live in denial about where where they're at whatever stage of their career they're in, where they think that, I could once do this, so I could do it again or whatnot. There's none of that from Thornton. This dude's just here. He just wants to win. It's like, yeah, you know what? My job now is to forecheck, and my job is to go in front of the net. I was watching on the power play last night. He was standing in front of the net, right? People were like, oh, Joe Thornton replacing Wayne Simmons in front. Could you imagine 10 years ago telling Joe Thornton to go stand in front of the net on the power play?
There's a great picture of, I think it's Thornton, Spezza, and I
And
don't know if Tavares
Tavares.
is the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
just like, if you told me that Dubas acquired these guys 5, 6, 10 years ago, I mean, no one would
You
have
wouldn't
bought it.
believe it. Yeah. Right. So, but just imagine 10 years ago going to Thornton and saying, yeah, you know what? You're not going to play half wall. You're not going to play that passing corner. You're going to go in front of the net and you're going to screen the goalie for point shots.
Yeah.
Like,
And
you
you're
get
not even going
fired.
to stand there that often. We're going to get you to just chill behind the net most of the
Yeah.
time. Just literally hang out behind the net there. Just stand there.
But he knows now. He's looking around. He sees the young guys. He knows what his job is. And they're going, I want to win games. And I think that has a really positive impact on the overall culture of your team because they're looking, right? Like he has the respect. Patrick Marleau is a really good player in, his prime or whatever. He was never Joe Thornton level good. He was really good, but he was never Joe Thornton. No one's
Never
ever sitting there
Hart
going,
candidate. I mean, Hart
yeah,
winner. Good.
yeah, right? Like Thornton was the next level. So Joe Thornton's sitting there and that guy's sacrificing. Also, as an aside, when Patrick Marleau refused to sit and like load manage himself because he wanted the streak, that just bothered me to no end.
It drove
Are
me
we?
nuts, but then everyone was telling me, "Oh no, this is something that hockey players care about, so you need to take that into account." And I don't know,
If
a lot of this stuff with pro athletes, I just go, "Well, what improves your chances of winning a cup?" That's what I care about.
if he had won a cup, if he had won a cup and he's like, no, I want the record, I get it. But you haven't won a cup, dude. Sit. That's the most important. That should have been the most important thing. Anyways, that aside, back to Thornton. Thornton's sitting there, and what an example, right? Everyone can look at him and just say, this guy's here to win. That's the only thing that matters to him. He's taking whatever role the Leafs are giving him. He's going to do it with a smile on his face, and he's going to try his best. We talked about Matthews leading the way, and he 100% is. But now you can look down the roster. Oh yeah, there's Jason Spezza on the fourth line. playing on the right wing of Travis Boyd, right?
But he's
But
still
he knows
quarterback
his
in
role.
PP2 pretty well. He's
He knows
still
his
gaining
role.
the zone like no one else. By the
And
way, that's a side thing, but Jason Spezza's efficiency at gaining the zone in the power play, I think he's arguably Toronto's best player at it. Marner struggles sometimes. Matthews struggles sometimes. Jason Spezza just skates as fast as he can. He loads up and he gains the zone. He just goes north, makes a play at the blue line, and you're in. And it's something he can still do at age, what is he? How old is Jason Spezza now?
37. So Matthews has the best shot on the team. But after that, it's between Nylander and Spezza, right?
I mean, Tavares is on this team.
You think Tavares has a better, he definitely doesn't have a better slap shot than
Oh,
Spezza.
I guess I'm thinking off the rush in a tight spot, wrist shot situation.
I mean, the fake slapper is
He's still got it.
outrageous.
I can't believe goalies are still biting on it, but he also does launch a few slap shots from the top of that right circle, so you have to respect it a little bit.
The Mike Smith
with
goal
Joe
killed
Thornton,
me
go for
because
it.
he just went like fake slap shot, but then he shot it in the middle of the net after, basically.
Oh, didn't it go top rightish? I
It
don't know. I'd need to
was
rewind.
it was pretty central to the net, and you could tell Spezza lapped behind the net after he scored, and he barely moved a muscle. It was almost like this was too easy, almost embarrassing.